Hey guys, this is Mac again and welcome back. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Glock Mods. Today we're going to be performing what I believe is one of the most important modifications that you can do to your Glock handgun. And today we're doing it on my favorite G19 in flat dark earth. Now what improvement is that? That is the 3.5 pound trigger connector. These are available from many companies, but we're going to be using what I found to be my favorite, the Glock Ghost connector in 3.5 pounds. This is a really quick modification. You can do it in about 1 to 2 minutes in your handgun, and you only need one tool. Either your handy Glock tool, or if you don't have one of these, you can use a simple punch. I have a couple of shortcuts that are going to help you do this a whole lot quicker, so let's get started.
The first step, as always, is to verify that you've got a safe handgun. And then we're going to separate our slide from the lower hand grip, which contains the trigger housing. Now, there's only one pin that you'll need to remove, and that's from the rear of the hand grip. And we're going to use our Glock tool for this. Now, this is a shortcut for you and a tip. You don't have to remove the entire trigger housing to get the trigger connector out. You can leave the locking block alone, and after you've removed that one pin, you can pull the trigger housing up from the rear of the handgun. And as you can see, there's a small slot in which you can push your Glock tool to push the trigger connector out the right hand side. So while inserting your Glock tool on the left hand side of the trigger housing, you'll push the connector out the right side. And here's our stock connector. Now here's our Ghost connector. Although they look very similar, the finish and the smoothness of the Ghost connector is much superior to the standard Glock connector. Then after you reinstall the new connector onto the trigger housing, there is a T-shaped bar on top of the trigger bar that you need to slide into a flat slot in the trigger housing. And once you've done that, and be careful not to damage your trigger spring while doing this, then you can just pop the trigger housing right back into the hand grip portion of the handgun. Now you'll reinstall that one small polymer pin using your Glock tool, and then you can reinstall your slide right onto the top of the handgun, and you're finished.
Changing out the trigger connector is one of the easiest modifications that you can do for your Glock handgun. Not only will it drop the trigger pull approximately 2 pounds on a factory trigger, which in factory configuration comes in at about 6 to 7 pounds, it also makes a noticeably smoother trigger pull and takes out a lot of the creep in the trigger. I believe that it's the first modification that every Glock handgun should have, and every one of my Glock handguns, from my competition 34 right down to the everyday carry Glock 19, has the Ghost connector. In 30 to 60 seconds, you can do this to your Glock with one simple tool. It's very easy, very safe, and I highly recommend it. So once again, this is Mac. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Glock Mods. If you would, please subscribe to my channel if you hadn't already, and please share this video. You can share it by either clicking the share link directly below the video or by clicking the little triangular antenna sign on mobile. Once again, this is Mac. Thanks for joining me. Be safe out there, and we'll see you next time.